Perfect Turd Podcast, episode 208, Lamar, Psycho Santa, part 1 and 2.
Well, we tried to keep the holiday season going, and so we were like, hey, let's look up some Christmas movies. We came across on Tubi Psycho Santa 1 and 2. And what's interesting is what Psycho Santa was made in 2002, right?
Yeah.
And then Psycho Santa 2 was made in 2021. So we were like, okay, maybe there's a difference. Like, I don't know, something going on. Boy, oh boy, were we wrong. It turns out it wasn't released until 2021. Yeah.
Well, lucky us in 2021.
We were trying to, because we, of course, watched XXXmas, which had a very good Santa that was killing everybody. Well, not a good Santa, but a good Santa for our purposes. So you're like, hey, let's keep it going. And so we came across Psycho Santa 1 and 2. And, well.
Let's start with our first category. What did you think of the story? Was there a story? There was, actually.
There was, but it wasn't that comprehensible. Okay, so in Psycho Santa 1, a couple is going to a Christmas party.
Yeah.
And they are driving, and they have to drive a long distance. Well, first of all, the movie starts off with Psycho Santa chasing someone through a junkyard or something. Like, he doesn't even kill the person, I don't think. Like, so it starts off like that. But then we go to, I guess, modern times, and he's like, they're driving, and the husband is like, yeah, this is where, that Santa went crazy. And his wife is like, oh, really? And then he's like, let me tell you the story. And he tells like 3 stories.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the movie for Psycho Santa 1. And then Psycho Santa 2, it ditches that format where Psycho Santa, I guess, escaped, and it's like they're killing people again randomly because there's family involved.
Yeah, it's his son, right?
Which is not explained in Psycho Santa 1, is it?
Not really. I thought in the part 1 they just explained like he was a maniac.
That's it.
That had escaped from like a mental ward or something.
Something. Or no, it wasn't it like his parents kept him? Okay, his parents kept him.
Right.
And then he went to a psych ward, but then he escaped.
Yeah. And then in the second one, it's the son that's doing stuff at the behest of Psycho Santa. I really don't know.
It's not explained very well.
I will say this: the second one did have more of an actual like movie. The huge problem with both of these movies were every scene was drawn out. It was just people just walking around. Nothing happens. Just walking, people dancing, just everything was so drawn out. Both of these movies could have been a half an hour total, and they were both like an hour and a half each.
They could have just made one movie.
Yeah.
Where like you explain what happened and then go into like what's happening now with Psycho Santa.
But instead you get this thing that was quite frankly kind of painful to watch. It was a drag.
Yeah.
Well, what do you give it, Lamar?
I got to give this one a 0.
I agree. Yeah. Well, our next category is even more complex. What did we think of the characters?
Okay. In the first one, it was like vignettes. The first vignette of Psycho Santa 1, these women went to a cabin to have a slumber party in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up finding their friend that was supposed to meet them there cut up in boxes.
Yeah.
So did they get killed? I can't remember.
I think it's implied. The funniest part.
That's the problem.
Everything is implied where nothing is. That was a funny scene because they find the box and they open it up with the head in there, and the woman's just like, like that acting. not necessarily top notch in these movies, Lamar.
No. Well, I'll speed through the next vignettes.
Yeah.
Hmm. The next one, two burglars go into a place with a blind woman who's taking a bath,
Yeah.
and they kill her.
Mm-hmm.
But then Santa shows up and kills them.
Right.
And then the third one is a couple or some shit. Like
It was a
their
brother and
car breaks
sister. A
down. Yeah,
brother and
brother and
sister.
sister. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then they're getting chased by Psycho Santa.
And then the brother comes back in part 2 because he's been haunted by Psycho Santa's what he did to him. I honestly don't remember any. Like you said, it's just a series of stuff.
Yeah, it is.
You don't really remember the characters. The only even Psycho Santa. I mean, they did give him a backstory, I suppose.
Was
Kinda.
it? It was so simplistic. It was like he was crazy.
Yeah. Well, I give it a 0 for characters, Lamar.
Agreed. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Yeah. What's next, Joe?
Special effects / kills.
A lot of these kills are more so implied.
Yeah.
I'll say this: they're more implied in Psycho Santa 1 than in Psycho Santa 2.
Yeah,
but
they
then
did
by
do
the
some
time
stuff. Yeah.
in Psycho Santa 2, they're not meh.
They had like the fake blood that you get at the dollar store during Halloween time, like that really kind of that texture. There was a lot of that. There was mostly just kind of like fake blood and people spitting. And in the second one, they did something to Psycho Santa's face. I'm not sure exactly what.
They don't explain it. They just did something. That's all we know.
What do you give it for special effects / kills, Lamar?
That's 0. I'm sorry.
I agree. It is a 0.
Yeah.
Well, our next category, as we did last week, Christmas spirit.
I mean, they played Christmas music, and he
Well,
was Santa.
That's an important part of the plot because certain songs, certain Christmas songs, whenever Psycho Santa hears them, he goes into a trance.
Yeah.
And I guess the big problem here is that he's not really Santa, unlike the movie we saw last week, right? He's just a guy dressed as Santa. That's a big problem. So other than the Christmas music, I wouldn't really say they incorporated any kind of like Christmas magic or whatever. What do you give it?
I gotta give it a 0.
I guess I'm going to have to agree.
Yeah. Oof.
Well, our last category might be the only redeeming factor here. Maybe TNA, Lamar.
Well, it was there. It was there. It was there mostly in Psycho Santa 1.
Only.
Well, it was there only in Psycho Santa.
Yeah, only in Psycho Santa 1.
Psycho Santa 2 is just like, meh. So,
yeah,
that's all I
mean,
got.
there was TNA. Well, in Psycho Santa 1, there was a woman taking a shower.
For like 20 minutes.
It was like a 10-minute scene. It was cut between her in the shower and her other friend just kind of walking around outside.
Yes.
It was going back and forth. So it was like, man, I know we always give TNA a 1, Lamar, but I have to say, I'm going to give it a half point.
Ooh, damn. That's our second half point for TNA. My God.
I'm going to give it a half point. What about you?
I'll give him something a 1.
Okay.
All right. Well, fuck it. Sure. Whatever.
Well.
All right.
We've tallied the goddamn score, Lamar. And this movie gets a 0.75 out of 5.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna see like more Santa isms,
Yeah.
the ho 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 or something. I
Yeah.
don't know, something. There's two of these,
They made two of them. It was very much. First of all, it looked like it was shot on a VHS camcorder, and
probably.
this is very much like people found a camera in the closet and decided to make a movie. That's what it seems like. And had it not had the one kind of TNA scene in the beginning, this would have gotten a 0. So,
Yeah.
does that wrap this up, Lamar?
Yeah, sometimes you get something nice under the tree, and then sometimes your stocking is full of coal. It's
Yeah.
the meaning, well, not the meaning of life, it's the ebb and flow of life. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, Psycho Santa 1 and 2. Peace, I guess.
Deuces.